In 1492, Christopher Columbus, an Italian explorer funded by Spain, sailed west across the Atlantic Ocean. He was searching for a new trade route to Asia. Instead, he landed on islands in the Caribbean Sea. This event is often called the Discovery of America, although indigenous people already lived there. Columbus's voyages marked the beginning of European exploration and colonization of the Americas. Europeans began to explore and claim land in the New World. Spain established colonies in South and Central America, while other European powers, including England, France, and the Netherlands, focused on North America. The arrival of Europeans had a profound impact on the indigenous populations. They brought diseases like smallpox, which devastated native communities. They also engaged in conflict and displacement, forcing many indigenous people from their ancestral lands. The first permanent English settlement in North America was Jamestown, Virginia, founded in 1607. Many early colonists came seeking religious freedom or new opportunities. Life in the colonies was difficult, with harsh winters and conflicts with Native Americans. The colonists relied on agriculture, growing crops like tobacco, cotton, and indigo, which they shipped back to Europe. As more Europeans arrived, they established 13 colonies along the Atlantic coast. Each colony developed its own unique identity and government. The New England colonies were settled primarily by Puritans seeking religious freedom. The Middle colonies were more diverse, with settlers from various European countries. The Southern colonies relied heavily on slave labor to work on large plantations. Over time, tensions grew between the colonists and Great Britain. The British government imposed taxes on the colonies without their consent, which angered many colonists who believed in no taxation without representation. Events like the Boston Tea Party, where colonists protested a tax on tea by throwing British tea into Boston Harbor, further escalated the situation. In 1775, the American Revolutionary War began with the battles of Lexington and Concord. The colonists, led by George Washington, fought for their independence from British rule. The Declaration of Independence, signed on July 4, 1776, declared that the 13 colonies were free and independent states. After years of fighting, the colonists defeated the British and secured their independence with the Treaty of Paris in 1783. After the Revolutionary War, the newly independent states created a new government under the Articles of Confederation. However, this system proved to be weak and ineffective. In 1787, delegates met at the Constitutional Convention to create a new framework for government. They drafted the United States Constitution, which established a federal system with a strong central government divided into three branches: executive, legislative, and judicial. The issue of slavery deeply divided the nation. The southern states relied heavily on slave labor and feared economic ruin if slavery were abolished. The northern states increasingly opposed slavery on moral grounds. This division ultimately led to the Civil War in 1861. Section 5. Reconstruction and Industrialization. The Civil War was a bloody conflict that lasted 4 years. The Union, or the North, fought to preserve the Union, while the Confederacy, or the South, fought to secede and maintain slavery. The Union ultimately triumphed in 1865, ending slavery in the United States. The period after the Civil War is known as Reconstruction. The federal government worked to rebuild the South and integrate formerly enslaved people into society. However, Reconstruction was met with resistance and violence from white Southerners, and it ultimately failed to achieve full equality for African Americans. The late 19th century saw rapid industrialization and urbanization in the United States. New technologies such as the railroad and the telegraph transformed the country. Factories sprang up in cities, attracting millions of immigrants seeking work. Section 6. The World at War. The 20th century was marked by 2 world wars and the rise of the United States as a global superpower. The United States entered World War I in 1917 after Germany's unrestricted submarine warfare threatened American ships. The war ended in 1918 with the defeat of Germany and its allies. The United States entered World War II in 1941 after the Japanese attack on Pearl Harbor. The war ended in 1945 with the defeat of Japan and Germany. The United States emerged from World War II as a global superpower, playing a leading role in shaping the post-war world order. Section 7. Civil Rights and Social Change. The decades following World War II saw significant social and political changes in the United States. The Civil Rights Movement, led by figures like Martin Luther King Jr. and Malcolm X, fought for equality for African Americans. Through protests, boycotts, and legal challenges, the movement achieved major victories, including the Civil Rights Act of 1964 and the Voting Rights Act of 1965. Other social movements such as the women's rights movement, the LGBTQ+ rights movement, and the environmental movement also gained momentum during this period, advocating for greater equality and social justice. Section 8. The Path to the Present. The late 20th and early 21st centuries have been a time of rapid technological advancement and globalization. The rise of the internet and personal computers has transformed communication and commerce. The United States has faced new challenges in the 21st century, including terrorism, climate change, and economic inequality. The September 11, 2001 attacks on the World Trade Center and the Pentagon had a profound impact on the country, leading to the wars in Afghanistan and Iraq. The election of Barack Obama as the first African American president in 2008 marked a historic moment for the United States. However, the country remains deeply divided along political, social, and economic lines. Section 9. A Legacy of Freedom and Challenge. The history of the United States is a complex and often contradictory story. It is a nation founded on principles of freedom, equality, and democracy. Yet it has struggled to live up to these ideals throughout its history. From the displacement of Native Americans to the legacy of slavery and segregation, the United States has grappled with issues of injustice and inequality. However, it is also a nation that has shown a remarkable capacity for change and progress. The United States continues to evolve and face new challenges in the 21st century. Its history provides valuable lessons about the importance of civic engagement, the pursuit of justice, and the enduring power of the human spirit.